1975, this was the most fashionable car to be seen in. 40 years ago, John's Jaguar XJS was hugely desirable. Other new cars that year included the Triumph TR7 and the Austin Princess. For the first time, it was possible to drive round at least part of Southampton on a motorway. Before the M27 was built, the narrow bridge at Swaithling was the main route for long-distance traffic. The motorway west of Southampton was finished first. Then came Portsmouth, built round the northern edge of the harbour. The rest took another decade to complete. The soft peat of the River Itchen was a particular problem.
But it's not finished there. The peat has to be replaced, so hundreds of lorry loads of chalk from Portsmouth must be brought in to provide the missing stable base for the concrete piles to be driven into.
The idea of a South Coast motorway started in the 1930s. It was to run from Kent to Cornwall, but the money ran out. What we got was much shorter, a road from the edge of the New Forest to Havant.
Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
When the section near Eastleigh was completed, South Today presenter Bruce Parker was the first to drive it.
And it's a splendid piece of road, I must say, opening up a part of the countryside in Hampshire here that I've never seen before. Mind you, I do think some of us are going to be slightly surprised using this for the first time when we come to this point, because this is where the runway ends at Eastleigh Airport, and certainly the planes, the bigger ones anyway, taking off and landing, look rather close to me.
Bruce was right. In 1993, this happened. A jet overshot the runway and landed on the motorway, hitting 3 cars. It burst into flames. The 2 people on board were unhurt. The motorway was going to be laid with tarmac. The 1970s oil crisis stopped that. Bitumen became too expensive, so it was made with concrete instead. Some of it is still there. Drive along the M27 today and you'll hear it. Concrete roads are more noisy. But 20 years after the road opened, much of it had already worn out. Large areas had to be rebuilt.
It's unimaginable what the situation would be now without it, because obviously traffic has grown, probably doubled in Hampshire over the lifetime of the motorway, and the motorway's still coping reasonably well. It's generated new residential areas near junctions, it's generated business parks, so both socially and economically it's pretty important.
Now the road is changing again. The M27 motorway, the pulsing artery of the South Coast. 30 miles from the New Forest to Portsmouth in 20 seconds. The motorway carries volumes of traffic never imagined when it was built. It has changed the face of southern England. Whole communities and business parks have been built only because the motorway is here. Hedge End, Sedgensworth, Whiteley.
Although over the last decade it's been fairly stable traffic because of the recession has kept the traffic levels lower. I can see now as we're moving out of recession that may generate a rather higher traffic growth than we might like.
Around the Portsmouth area it's carrying about 120,000 vehicles every day. Will it get busy? Yes, it will. We've got a fantastic growing economy in the south, and the M27 will get busier.
The motorway took 4 decades of discussion, then 10 years of construction. The first part, west of Southampton, opened 40 years ago today. Now it needs regeneration. Small changes to junctions are underway. In a few years, the hard shoulder will be converted to an extra driving lane. It's already happening on the M3. It's called a smart motorway.
Your journey, instead of what it is today, a bit of a stop-start, it will be smoother and it will be controlled.
Are we following the Department of Transport's national traffic forecasts, which continue to go up and up and up, or are some of the academics right, thinking that we may have peaked in terms of traffic volumes because people are now working in different and smarter ways.
Most highways evolved from ancient trackways. They've been here for thousands of years. Main roads often became turnpikes. Today we would call the gates toll booths. But not this one. The M27 has been here only 40 years. Yet its impact on the geography of southern England is profound. Whether we sit in traffic jams each morning to get to work, or we buy goods delivered by its juggernauts and vans, its impact on all our lives is huge. Go on, have a guess, 40 years' time.
40 years' time. We might be in hover cars by then, but who knows?
Paul Clifton, BBC South Today on the M27.